Okay, we're going to try to start right on time, so about 2 more minutes, and we will get going. All right, it is 6:30, so we're going to go ahead and get started this evening. Welcome everyone to our Spring Athletic Awards. Thanks for being here on a rainy Tuesday night. It's better than being outside, I guess, so glad we can be inside in the air conditioning. I'm excited to set aside some time here this evening to honor our spring teams here at Friendship. So let's go ahead and we'll pray, and then we will get started. All right, let's pray. God, we thank you for how you've blessed us. We thank you for the end of another school year that's coming and the end of another athletics year as well. We thank you for how you've shown yourself faithful to us and how we can see your hand in every decision that's made and every action that's taken throughout the course of a year. We thank you for our teams and our coaches and everyone who's here this evening. We thank you for our school and the opportunity that we have just to set aside some time here to be thankful and to celebrate the achievements of our teams and the growth that they've made. And we thank you for all that you've done for us. I pray that you bless our time together here this evening. And in Jesus' name, amen. All right, well, I'm Coach Brondike. I'm the AD here. If you don't know me, it's good to see all of you. Thanks for coming. Before we get started, I just want to, as people are filtering in here, that's great. I just want to start with a few personal thank yous to some important people that have really helped this year go smoothly, especially since we're at the end of the year, which is really crazy to think about, that there's another school year done. It doesn't feel like it, but I guess we say that every year. Each year goes by quicker and quicker, right? So anyway, just starting with tonight, some people that have helped make tonight possible. Coach Olson and Coach Sellers are helping do our technology stuff, mics, PowerPoints, all that. Miss Fradenberg helped set up all the decorations out there. It looks great every time. And Miss Frazier as well helped with the certificates and some of the trophies. So just thankful for them and helping make tonight possible. Really did a great job, and I love being able to do this together. For our seasons, Miss Brigham, I don't know, are you here again? Should be here. She's not here? Wow, okay. Well, there's Michael, his mom, but good. But anyway, Miss Brigham did helped do our concessions all year long, and made sure that I didn't have to be in charge of all of that, because if I did, it wouldn't happen. So thankful for Miss Brigham. Michael, you can tell her that for me. Miss Beamy up here took a lot of pictures during the year, pretty much all of them of our teams and stuff. Took some time out of her day, and she's here tonight too to take pictures. So thank you, Miss Beamy. For traveling, obviously we know traveling's super fun, especially like our varsity teams. We ended the season by having to go to Fayetteville basically 2 days in a row, which was a lot of fun for the playoffs, but would not be possible without people volunteering their time to drive our buses, which everyone cannot do. So thankful for Mr. McLean, Mr. Clark, Miss Walston, Mr. Bavard, Mr. Vradenberg, a collection of a lot of people who help make our seasons possible. So very thankful for their help as well. I do want to recognize, and I think I forgot it. Anyway, I'm going to recognize him anyway. I'll get it to him later. But I have one teacher's assistant who has helped me every day this year during 7th hour, and sometimes 8th hour too. He does not have to come 2 hours, but sometimes he volunteers multiple hours out of his day to help me, and he does that tremendously. A ton of stuff behind the scenes, getting ready for games, carting water coolers, moving bleachers, organizing uniforms, helping me set up the trophies today. Basically just anything that I need help with, he helped me with. And he always had a great attitude, and I'm just very thankful for him. So, Corbin, can you stand up? Corbin Carter, let's give him a round of applause. Thank you, Corbin. I had this nice card and everything, but I do still have it, but I'll get it to you later, okay? Don't let me forget. All right, awesome. And then just in general, for our athletics program, wouldn't be possible without just the support from our school, and specifically our administration. Mr. McLean is very supportive of having sports. That might seem like kind of a weird statement, but not every school is that way. It's very difficult for some teams to have, for some schools to have teams, and you get pushback from administration on decision making. I know, just from talking to other schools, even in our conference, where it's just a nightmare and a headache trying to even just get their schools to different locations and get them the things they need to make their seasons possible. So just thankful that we have the support of our administration. It means a lot, and it helps make everything obviously run very well. Coach Sommer is a big help to me personally, and gives me a lot of advice and does a ton of stuff behind the scenes in addition to all the other stuff that he does. Coach, he's everywhere at all times doing all sorts of things. So very thankful for him and being able to share an office with him. I wouldn't want to do that with a lot of people, but it's not too bad. So we make do up there. The teachers here at Friendship are always supportive of our teams and, getting out of school early, late nights, stuff like that. Thankful that we have a, teaching staff here that wants our kids to be involved and wants them to have those experiences of being in a sports team. Again, it's not always the case everywhere you go. So thankful for them. Of course, thank you to all of you, all of our families, and even some extended family and friends that are here. Thank you for your support, not only of our students, but also of our school and our values that we have. Some of us maybe experienced this a little bit more in the past week, but that's not the case with every school, that you don't have a lot of issues. You have crowd control things that happen and issues with students and, parents, and there's just a lot that can happen when you get 200 people in a small area, especially with competition and other things. So I really don't ever have to deal with a lot of that, and I think that's just goes to show how we have families that understand the purpose of athletics and what is valuable about them, and are able to instill those values at home, and that means a lot, and it's a really big deal. And it might not seem like it, but I really think our school is special in that way, and so just thank you for how you handle that. It really means a lot. So all of our athletes here, let's give a hand to all of your families that help make everything possible. Okay, coaches, obviously, they're going to have their chance to shine a little bit here tonight and come up and talk to everybody. But if you're not familiar with what it takes to be a coach, they do a lot that is seen and a lot that is unseen. Unfortunately, a lot that is seen sometimes is not always the greatest stuff, as you may have seen before with certain coaches. But our coaching staff is just first class, really, in that way. Really very thankful that they're always instilling the right mindset into our athletes as they grow up, and come through our program. And coaches that are, first of all, caring about the spiritual development of our student athletes, and then also just passionate about their sport. Right? This is athletics, so we want coaches that love to coach and love their athletes. I know you'll get to come up here in a minute, but can all of our coaches just stand up real quick so we can give you a hand for all that you've done this season? All right, thank you so much. Last but not least, thank you to all of our students. Appreciate all of you and your commitment to your teams. Thank you for the extra time, all the hard work, the extra laps, whatever your coach made you do, I don't know. The sacrifices that you made to something that's, bigger than just yourself and you as an individual. I think that's really important for you to learn those things. So I hope you can say that your time as on your teams here has helped you grow not just in your skill with the sport, but most importantly in your friendships, your character, your walk with Christ. And I hope that this is something that memories you'll be able to take with you and be able to learn from as you continue to grow. So thank you all for your part in that, and looking forward to a great night together. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and we'll get started. All right, so the order for this evening, we only have 4 teams to recognize this evening. So the order is going to be middle school baseball will come up first, then we'll have varsity golf, and then we'll have varsity baseball, and then we'll have varsity girls soccer to close us out. So whenever your name is called, just like usual, we've done this a couple times, so team will come stand over here, coach will come talk, and everybody's going to get a certificate. Varsity teams will get a pin, and then we'll have some team awards as well, just a few select team awards. So after your team's done, if you receive an award, athletes, if you could come right over here, so Ms. Beamy can get a picture of you, and then we'll move on to the next group. Also, if you have anything that you want to say about your coach, feel free to come up and say it at the conclusion of your time. All right, so I think that is it. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. All right, so anyway, we're going to start with middle school baseball. So Coach Olson, Coach Walker, middle school boys, you guys come on to the front.
Good evening. It is a wet evening. I feel like every sports awards ceremony is rainy. I don't know if that's only my opinion, but I feel like if you want to grow a garden, you need to plant it a couple days before the award ceremony, and you will have a well-watered garden. But I'm thankful that we could be here safe and dry. Thank you guys for making the effort to come out. I had all my notes on my phone, and I left it in my seat. So we're going to wing it. Thank you guys so much for being here this evening. It is a privilege to represent the school as well as the middle school boys baseball team. We had a great season. Our record doesn't necessarily reflect that, but our individual accomplishments and what we have learned, how we have grown, both individually and as a team, really does prove that we had a great season. If I could sum up the mindset that we had with one Bible verse, it would be Proverbs 24:16, which I'm going to have to paraphrase here because I don't have it in front of me, but it talks about how The righteous man might fall 7 times, but he gets up again. But the foolish man, he falls into calamity. Baseball is a sport of failure. I don't know how many of you guys really intimately know the sport, but as a batter, as a hitter, standing at the plate, if you fail 60% of the time, 60%, you're considered an elite hitter. That means you're batting 400, which is considered elite. Only very few Major League Baseball players have ever even gotten close to that number, much less top it. So it's a sport of failure. Within a Major League Baseball season, there's 162 games. If you win 100 games, and that still means 62 losses, you're considered an elite team. Baseball is a sport of failure. And so if you are incapable of picking yourself up again, dusting yourself off, and going and getting it again, baseball is not your sport. So you have to have a mental hardness, and that's something that I really appreciate and got from Coach Moulton, especially this year, was to instill a mental hardness into our boys to understand that, hey, you are not going to be successful all the time. That's just the nature of the beast with baseball. And so if you are incapable of moving forward, moving on, brushing yourself off, forgetting about that strike, forgetting about that strikeout or that error in the field, if you're incapable of that, you're going to struggle mightily, and you're going to bring your team down. And so that's something that we really focused on with these middle school athletes, was developing a mental hardness so that they could truly be the best player and the best teammate possible. And so I'd like to thank the boys for developing that mental hardness. They really did show that throughout this entire season. And yes, we had a tough season if our win-loss record was the only indicator that you looked at. But individually, these boys developed a mental hardness. They developed maturity. They improved in their skills that we practiced. We practiced ground balls every single stinking practice, didn't we? Until we got it. And if a ground ball went past them, or if they had a bad throw back to Walker, they had to run. And they had to run the length of the soccer field in 90-degree weather, and that's how we improved. That's how you develop mental hardness. I'd like to thank my wife, Mrs. Olson, Ellen Olson, for just allowing me to even take the time away from other responsibilities and be able to be out on the field. It was a blast to be able to do that. Thank you, Coach Grondike and Mr. McLean for approaching me and having me coach this year. Huge thanks to Coach Walker, who genuinely, I don't know if I would have been able to make it through the season without him on the first baseline, being a first base coach during games, and then helping with drills. And in order to have an efficient and effective practice in baseball, you have to run multiple stations at once. And I'm only one guy, and so I really appreciate Coach Walker's consistency in being there. Big thanks to Coach Milton, Coach Rags, and Coach Thomas as well. Their experience, this was my first time coaching baseball, and their experience, especially in decision-making and how to handle or approach something, was invaluable. And I really appreciate just their openness and willingness to help out or give advice whenever I asked of it. And of course, thank you to you parents. As a coach, I understand that there are other things competing for your time and for your attention. And yet we never once had an issue with a kid missing practice willy-nilly because their parents couldn't somehow bring them or pick them up for practice. We never had numbers issues at games, and kids got picked up on time and all that good stuff because of your consistency. And your consistency and your attitude shows through your children. I can tell, and I really appreciate that. So thank you for what you did to help make sure that this was a successful season. We had a great cookout as a team last Thursday, and the parents and the kids played an exhibition game together. We crushed them, but that's okay. And we had a blast. And again, big thank you for those parents just to invest time and money and effort and attention into your kids and into the athletic endeavors of your student, and I really appreciate it. And thank you to these boys. Again, I've coached these boys both in basketball and baseball now, and we've grown together. We've learned a lot together, and we've grown as men. We've grown in our mental hardness, like I talked about, but just even through a skill progression, we've grown. our defense was way cleaner by the end of the season. Our pitching got better. Our approach at the plate got better. Errors in the field, mental errors, stuff like that decreased throughout the duration of the season. And that's because they put in the work. They decided that they were going to do their very best. I can only coach their very best so much. They have to provide it. And I really appreciate that they did that. They never complained. Whenever we had a drill for the 15th millionth time because they kept on having balls go between their legs, they never complained about it. They got it. They understood. We still need to work on this. I don't want to do it, but we still got to work on it. They never complained, or at least not to my face. So I really, really do appreciate that. So we have some awards to hand out. We like to recognize 2 athletes this evening. Not necessarily the very best athlete or the most shining stats or anything, but especially here at Friendship, we like to highlight athletes who really encapsulate the mission and the idea, the ethos behind Friendship, which is being Christ-like, which is being a leader, which is being humble, which is being helpful. Anything like that, we like to recognize in a special way. And so our first award today is called, let's go with the other one. It's called the Captain. I don't know if you're familiar with sports, but especially with the New York Yankees, to be designated the captain is a big deal. And very rarely does a captain actually get designated because it is such a big deal. But in order to be designated as a captain, you have to be an outstanding leader. You have to be forward-facing, loud, talkative, encouraging, holding one another accountable. And there is one athlete who really did that. He happened to be our ace, our starting pitcher, and so he set the tone. And he always held his teammates and himself accountable, and I really appreciate everything that Chipper has done for our team throughout this whole year. So the Captain Award goes to Chipper Vradenberg. The other award goes to a boy who just oozes consistency. Oozes consistency, not just in play, in the sense that you can count on him to make the routine play, but also just consistency in appearance, consistency in attitude. He doesn't get super high and high, doesn't get really low and low, just a very even-keeled kid, which is very important, especially in a middle school team. He was consistent from the standpoint that I could always count on him to do the right thing, to set the example at practice, to never complain, to be a volunteer, to really desire to do what is right. And so the Mr. Consistent title goes to Nolan Vradenberg. Again, thank you guys so much for your participation in this season. I truly believe that parents participate just as much as the athletes do in order to be successful, especially at the middle school age. And so thank you for everything that you have done to make sure that this has been a complete and successful season. And I'm looking forward to next year. That's it. Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you to Coach Olson and Coach Walker for a great season. Like he said, our record doesn't really affect it, but we definitely improved a lot over the season, individually. So just thank you for that. Mr. Olson has a family. Coach Walker has a job that keeps him really busy. So we thank you for giving up your time.
All right, thanks, Coach, and middle school boys. And we will move on to our next team, which is varsity boys golf. So, Coach Ayers and boys coming up.
So, Coach Olson took my speech, as the whole golf is a sport where you're constantly failing. That is pretty much a theme, but it takes mental toughness to get through it. So it's also a sport of consistency. You have to consistently swing the same swing every time with different clubs, for different distances, for different types of shots. it takes the same swing pretty much all the time. And you have to be consistent with that. And what happens with golf is that when you miss a shot, then you start re-examining your entire life and going, how do I change my swing to make the next one better? When it's not that, you just need to remain consistent. That's one of the tough things about golf is that mental fortitude, that mental consistency, so that when something bad happens, you stop dwelling on it and you move to the next hole. You stop dwelling on that swing, you do your next swing. You're always moving past the mistake you made in the past to move to the next objective. In Philippians 3:16 or 3:13, it says, "Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind, and reaching forth to those things which are before, I press towards the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus." So just like in golf, in our own lives we make mistakes, but we're always looking for that next right step. We put that behind us. We confess the wrongs that we do. We ask for forgiveness, and then we take that next right step. And the consistency of that in the golf game can be transferred to a Christian life as well in that aspect. This year was a very interesting season. We started out, normally we have a practice facility, or we have a practice course at Headingham, and we went and talked to them. I talked to them, and then Coach Brondike, he sent messages to them and asking, hey, we would like to have a contract this year. And we kept contacting them and never heard back. And it was a couple of weeks before the golf season was to start, they said, no, you can't have a contract. So we lost our practice course. And at that point, we were trying to determine whether or not we were actually going to be able to play golf this year. So we had a team meeting for those people that were interested, and these gentlemen showed up to express their interest in playing golf this year. And then we basically described what had to be done in order for this to do it. And a lot of this, there was going to be some practicing on their own. So this probably weighed more heavily on two sets of parents than the other one, because one could drive and the other couldn't. The other two couldn't, but I just want to thank parents for being willing to take their son out to the golf course to practice, to do their 9 holes, to prepare. We were able to our golfers are now members of the Carolina Golf Association and can get a discounted rate to play golf. So if you want to play golf and you want to be a member of the Carolina Golf Association up until you're 18, you can play golf at a discounted rate. And that's what they ended up doing. And we took them out probably about twice a week to practice and to play. Also another opportunity, because we weren't paying for a course, is we got to have swing lessons, which I think was truly something that was really good and beneficial for the team to have swing lessons and do those things. So we ended up having a season. We had just enough to count it as a team, so we needed 3 players to have a team, and we had 3 players, so every score counted towards the team. So they did well. Well, when we start out, there's certain goals. You set achievable goals, and that's a win. So when you start out, it's like we need to make it to the green before we run out of strokes and have to stop. And then we want to make it onto the green so we have a shot for making making it into the hole. And then we want to try for par. And we had several that started out just trying to make it to the green, and at the end, most of them were trying to make it to the hole. So there was much improvement this year, and they did a good job in that respect. So we have 3 golfers, so we only have 1 award. This is called the Coaches Award. The Coaches Award is going to the golfer who was very consistent, both in attitude and action, basically exemplified the work ethic and the mentality to play the game of golf, to consistently play the game of golf. This golfer, every week, he did his 9 holes like he needed to do and turned in his card happily. When I'd be on the course, we were playing a match, and I'd go up to him and I'd say, "Hey, how you doing?" He'd give me a wry grin and go, "Well, this is not working," or something like that, but he never let it bother him. And he was just playing the game of golf, and he was enjoying it. When I'd point out that something that needed to be done, either whether it was trash on the ground or that needed to be picked up or something else, he would be the first to volunteer to go get it. He was an encourager to the other golfers. He was always ready to celebrate, no matter what the victory was, the other golfers' triumphs. Our Coaches Award goes to Walker Kane. And that's it.
I just want to thank Mr. Ayers and Mr. Brondike for all they've done to make this season possible.
All right, thanks, golf team. Like they said, this year it looked very different than it usually does, and so there was a lot of work behind the scenes. So Coach Ayers did a lot of work to make this season work, so thankful for that, and their parents as well. So I'm glad we were able to make it happen for them this year. Okay, next up we have varsity baseball. So Coach Milton and boys, come on up.
Okay, all right, sounds good. There you go, shorter than the rest. My name is Coach Milton. For those of you that may not know me, for the rest of you that do know me, I apologize. All right, varsity baseball, Mr. Olson stole Mr. Ayers, and he stole my thunder, because we have been talking about mentality this year. It is true, baseball is a difficult sport. If you're at the major league level and you're failing 70%, succeeding 30%, you're making a whole lot more money than the rest of us in this room, all right? And that's hard. I tell the guys all the time, no one's on the mound with you, so everybody sees your failure. No one's in the batter's box with you. No one sees your failure. You're in the field, the ball gets hit to you, no one else can help you. You can't hide anybody, and so it's a difficult sport. And comments such as, just hit the ball? Well, if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. Comments like, well, just throw a strike. If it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. And the reality of the matter is it's just not that easy. And so it's very difficult. I want to say a couple of thank yous to Coach Thomas here and Coach Ragsdale. We are the Three Amigos, but most of you know us as the Three Stooges. All right, we've been doing this together for a long time, over a decade together. So I appreciate them. Thanks to Coach Brondike for always setting up the field, helping us take down. I appreciate your hard work behind the scenes, making sure that the schedule stays intact in the spring. Thank you to Corbin, all right, for helping out Coach Brondike. There'll be many times if we're headed on the road, Corbin already has all the gear out. I appreciate that. If it's a home game, he's helping Coach Brondike, spray the bases, spray the mound, and do whatever else Coach Brondike needs. Thank you to Coach Summer for allowing us to have as much space on the practice field as we get. I appreciate to him. Coach Olson, and then a special thank you to Coach Walker. This was a special privilege. All right, he's over there laughing. Everybody stare at him because he'll get turned redder and redder and redder, and it's really funny. All right. And I had some other guys that have graduated last year that have helped out, and they're in very difficult college courses, so they weren't able to help out all the time. But Walker was able to work it out in his schedule to be with us all the time, and then he steps up to be the assistant for middle school baseball and just does a fantastic job. So we're really proud of him and all that he did. All right, and there's Mr. McLean for allowing us to continue to play in baseball and supporting the athletics there with driving and everything that he does there. So we're very appreciative there. I'm going to try and be quick because the last two guys were going long, and I almost passed out. So, I'm just kidding. So here we go. We'll do awards. So real quick, just super proud of these guys. We talked all about mentality. And I told them, I said, the higher you go in baseball, what separates players is not their talent. What separates them is their hard work. And many of you in your professions would agree with that. The people who succeed are the people who work hard, who stay faithful, who work with integrity. And that's one of the things that we're trying to teach here. I'm a Bama fan, Roll Tide. Not bandwagon, my dad was from Alabama, so. But one of the things that Coach Saban always talked about was the thing that separates is your work ethic. And I've been preaching to these guys all the time, your work ethic, your worth ethic, the way you conduct yourself, all right? I got stories, I'll shut up. But I got a bunch of stories that we've gone over there. They worked hard. Guys have improved. I mean, man, they worked hard in the cages. They worked hard in the bullpens. Worked hard in practice. I can't say thank you enough to them for all their hard work. I am very proud of them. They did a good job. I believe they represented Christ well. I think they represented friendship well, even when they were provoked not to. And I think they conducted themselves very well. So I'm going to go over a few of these voted on awards. Skip team leaders, skip the team character. Best defensive was Drew. MVP, won't worry about that. The muscle cramp award, most likely to get a muscle cramp, goes to Patrick. The whiner award, most likely to complain about the other team, that goes to Patrick. The Sheets Award, most likely to roam around Sheets talking, picking up everything, and then only getting one thing. That goes to Jackson. The Bruh Award, player you never know what they're going to do next, goes to Jackson. The You Define It Award, this one goes to one of these, somebody said, Most Injured Award goes to Camden. Let's see, the Bench King. Player who was most likely not to play in a game. They list the name. We won't say that name. The Clown Award goes to Corbin. Most likely to get hit goes to Michael Brigham. The Best Seeds Award goes to Jackson. The dumbest thing I did this season, trip over the fence while running a lap. All right, how that one happened. Strikeout. There we go. All right. Best Coach Award. Options were Coach Milton, Mr. Milton, head coach. Coach Milton got that one. The Smartest Coach Award, Coach Milton, Mr. Milton, our head coach. Coach Milton got that one again. The Coolest Coach, options again were Coach Milton, Mr. Milton, our head coach. So Coach Milton got that one. That's all funny, you're allowed to laugh. Best Third Base Coach, options were Coach Rags, Mr. Rags. Coach Rags grabbed that one. Best First Base Coach, Coach Thomas or Mr. Steve. Coach Thomas got that one. Most Improved Award we'll go over later. Funniest thing said, Mr. Milton quoting Who's on First with perfection. Everything Coach Thomas said, and Coach Rags, where's your ear hole? All right. Dumbest thing that was said was Coach Milton told everybody to run. Then someone said our coaches are too smart. They don't say anything dumb. Apparently, that person wants more playing time. Let's see. Funniest quote, let it hit you, run, and then one of the guys said, if I was better at the game, I'd play. Favorite game was Trinity and senior night. So, all right, awards. All right. Usually I end with this one last. I'm going to start with this one. This is a coach's award. This guy has been playing with me for a couple years here. I want to choose my words carefully here. The guy has worked really, really hard. He's worked hard. And success has not been easy. And success has not been as abundant for him as it has been for other players. But one of the things that we're trying to instill in these guys is you need to act like a man. Regardless of how things turn out, you show up the next day doing your best. If you had a great day the day before, you celebrate it, but you put it in the past, all right, and you come out the next day and you go back to work. If you had a bad day, you put it in the past and you come back out to work. And this guy did this. In our conversations, I know that he was doing everything he could to succeed. We've just been super proud of this guy. So the Coach's Award goes to Josiah Hemrick. All right, this is our Most Improved Award. This one was difficult. A bunch of guys, the guys voted on this, and man, there were a lot of good options. I'm going to mention a couple of the options. Jordy was mentioned in this. Jordy just worked hard, had an injury at the beginning of the season, kept him out of games, and then just was playing catch-up, but got better and better, and the guys recognized that. Two other guys that were on this list that just I thought did a great job for us. One was Corbin Carter. In his pitching and his hitting, got a lot better, worked very hard. And Josh Hemrick. I'm getting old. I'm losing my memory. Josh Hemrick, with his pitching, you could just tell that he was working real hard at it. His mental focus was getting a lot better and did really well. His hitting is, once it clicks for him, he's going to hit a lot. He's going to hit the ball hard. He got our only home run of this year and just crushed the ball. But this guy works. He and his dad go out and just work. And I'll tell you about more of his improvement coming up in a little bit. But the guy just did a great job, worked hard, batted in the cleanup spot for us, produced a lot of RBIs, a lot of base hits for us, and that's Alan Weiss. And then the vote and the coaches were kind of split on these awards. So we're not giving it's not going to say co on here. But we had two guys that were recognized as team leaders. The first one is a sophomore. He played pitcher, catcher, some infield for us, batted third in the lineup most of the year, and just did an outstanding job for us. Very vocal and a great guy that you want on the team. And that's Patrick Keller. Then the last one is a senior. He leads by example. He does a good job. I think he gets along well with everybody. And the coaches and the players just see him as a leader. He's a hard player. And just did everything he could to help us win, and that was Liam Willis. All right, thank you. Hey, we're getting a picture, right?
I just want to thank Coach Milton, Mr. Thomas, Coach Rags, just for all being great coaches and coaching us for all these years. So thank you.
All right, cool. While they're doing that, we will go ahead and move on to our next team, which is varsity girls soccer. I think you guys can, yeah, you can fit up there. You might need to use all the rows though, since I think there's 20 of them. So anyway, Coach Sommer, here you go.
I'll warn you, I have 2 pages. I wrote it out, so I'll try to stick to my script the best I can. That's hard for me. I tend to go off script a lot, but I will do my best. I'm so proud of these girls. I love each and every one of them, so if I get a chance to talk about them, it's just like when you have your own kids and you get together with other people, you just brag on them for a while. That's kind of what I want to do a little bit tonight. But before I do that, I want to thank several people, as everyone's been doing. I appreciate that. I'm so thankful for my 2 team moms, for Miss Cates and Miss McLean, for making sure that we had snacks and drinks and whatever that we needed for games. I really appreciate everything they did. For all of our parents who were so faithful to games, there were several parents that didn't matter how far away it was, you could count on they were going to be there at that game, and I really appreciate that. It's a huge encouragement when you're down at Fayetteville and you turn around and you see a huge crowd there for your team. That's really neat. And I want to thank Mr. Sellers, who's getting up here now. Appreciate his help. He really, really did a great job with Claire this year and just helping develop her, and we'll talk more about that later, but I really appreciate him because goalkeeping is my real big weakness. I don't coach goalkeepers. And then I want to thank Mrs. Sellers for giving up time with, if you know anything about their family, they've had a very, very, very busy few months here. And she was willing to let her husband spend a few hours with us, and on game days even more, and I appreciate her willingness. And then, as several have mentioned, Mr. McLean for driving several trips. I didn't have to drive to Fayetteville on the last trip, which was really nice, just to be able to sit back and just spend time thinking through the game plan and whatnot. And then last of all, I'm really thankful for Coach Brondike. He does so much that you guys will never see, never know. He's a very, very busy man, and he just makes sure that we have everything we need, that our field is always set up, and that the lines are just perfect. You go to some fields and you're just looking at these sidelines, and he does a perfect job on them, and I appreciate all he does for us. So this year was an incredible year for me as a coach. I had a lot of fun coaching these girls. Last year was an interesting year because it was kind of the end of an era. I had been coaching that group of girls since they were in 6th grade, and we graduated them. And this year was kind of starting over, and it was new, and we had to make a really tough decision because when we started going around trying to figure out who was going to play, we had lost so many girls from last year, we didn't have enough high school girls to make a team. And that was a concern. So we were trying to figure out how we could do 2 teams. It just didn't work out. And it was a difficult decision. The middle school girls team, I started 15 years ago, so obviously it wasn't something I wanted to give up. I love the middle school program, but we had to combine teams, and we became a 7th through 12th grade team. At the beginning of the season, I chose Philippians 2:2 and 3, which says, "Fulfill ye my joy, that ye be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord, of one mind. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, that each esteem other better than themselves." I knew the only way that we were going to be successful this year as a team was that if we became a unified whole. And unifying 7th through 12th grade is not easy. And I have to say, that was one of the things I was most proud of this season, is the fact that they came together as a unit. And at the end of our practices, they kind of didn't like my Ohana anymore, so we switched to family. But that was our closing every day. It was 1, 2, 3, family, because that's really what I see the team as, and I felt that we came together, and I said this senior night, but really that goes to the example of our two senior captains who just did a great job bringing the girls together, and I'm super proud of them. It was definitely an unselfish team. Sometimes I'd get a little bit frustrated because I wanted Lorelai to hold the ball and just go to the goal, take it to the goal, score a goal. But as soon as she got the ball, first thing she was doing was looking for a teammate to pass the ball to. And I did finally have to tell her at the last game that we had her with, I'm like, Lorelai, listen, when you get the ball, go to the goal. And she did, and then she broke her leg. But she scored the goal, so she did get the goal out of it. But she, very, very, very unselfish team, and that made me so proud. We started off actually much better than I thought. My goal for the season was make noise in the playoffs. And I even told the girls at the beginning of the season, I said, look, we are going to play for different goals this year. We're not necessarily worried about wins right now. We just, we'll set a goal for a game and then we'll try to achieve it. And then we went out and we pretty much won 3 out of our first 4 games. So I kind of did away with that, and we just developed as a team. And one thing besides a unity as a team that just made me so proud is how tough they are. This is a tough team. They work hard. And it doesn't matter what the score is. It doesn't matter if there's no chance of them winning. It doesn't matter. They're playing till that final whistle. And I had several coaches, not just one. I had one coach talk to me for about 20 minutes after game. We just sat in the parking lot and we're talking, and he said, your team never gives up. And I had another coach later in the season say the same thing. They just never give up. And for me, that's huge. At the end of the day, I'm not a huge wins and losses guys. I don't really look at records. I really don't care. What I care about is how they played, the effort they put into the game, the character that they showed in the game. If they give me everything that they had, and they do everything that I told them to do, and we lose, that means the other team was better. We did what we could do. So I don't sweat those losses, because I'm super proud of my girls because they did everything they could to win. And that's how we played all year long. And we gave every team we played a fight. Whether we won or whether we didn't win, they had to work hard to beat us. One of my favorite memories from the year, though, was from Thales of Apex. They were the #1 team in our conference. We scored early on them, and then held the lead the entire game. 45 seconds ago, they came and scored on us. Went into PKs, and we finished it off, and that was a very sweet time. I'm really proud of their character. I warned them several games. I said, this team, there's some girls on this team that are mean. They're going to cuss at you, they're going to knock you down, and they're going to make fun of you when they knock you down. And I said, that's just part of, they're not Christian schools, some of the ones we play in, and this is what you're going to deal with. I said, we're not going to lose our testimony. And I will tell you what, they represented us well everywhere we went. They represented Christ, and I'm super proud of that. I'm not going to take time, and none of the coaches did, so that works out. A lot of times I like to talk about each girl, but if we were here listening to me talk about each girl, for 20 girls, we'd be here for quite a bit. So I just want to touch briefly on, as a group, offensively, we were solid, but this was where the lack of experience really showed up. Lorelai really did a great job in helping mentor and coach the other girls and really brought them along. And the improvement in our offense from the beginning of the season to the end was night and day. But where we really shone was our defense. Our defense, in my opinion, and I might be a little biased, was the best in the conference. You had to work hard to score on us. One team beat us, didn't score any goals. They scored 3 PKs. Another team, it was just came all the way down to the very end, and maybe 1 or 2 goals each game, but that's it. And that really One of those is Gretchen in the back, one of the best defenders ever coached, or I'll say the best defender I've ever coached. And then you have Brooke and Samantha, who I wish you could see them play together. I don't know if they get along well at home, but on the soccer field on defense, they communicate, they talk, they cover. It really is a beautiful thing to see. It literally is the best defensive unit I've ever had, and it was a lot of fun. And then Eva stepped up and learned that position, and then obviously if you saw any of our games, you know about Claire, and she did a phenomenal job this season. So, I do have 4 awards. I have my specific order on that. The first one I want to begin with is my most improved player. As another coach mentioned, that could have gone several different ways. But this person really stood out in this one. At the beginning of the season, never played soccer before, and really wasn't very good. And we just worked, and we worked. And she went from just getting a little bit of time to, by the end of the season, I hardly ever took her off the field. She literally would play almost the entire time, and if I needed to give her a little breather, she'd come off, and I was like, okay, I need you back in there. And most improved player goes to Eva Reeves. This next one I'm calling the team player because of the complete unselfishness. I've already mentioned it already. Just the fact that I wanted this girl to hold on to the ball and take it to the goal, but I'm telling you, every time Lorelai got the ball, her head was up, she was looking for a teammate, every time. And she made the other girls better, and she led by example, she led by encouragement, and I really appreciate her on offense, and it was really shame to what happened at the end of the season, but my team player award goes to Lorelai Hosford. My next one I'm calling the team character. This goes to one of my captains who led by Christian example. I specifically asked her to play this season for that reason. I don't want to say for that reason alone, but that was the main reason I wanted her on the team, was because I knew what her character is like. And I knew that with a group of 7th through 12th grade girls, I needed someone who could lead spiritually on the team. And she did. She led, whether it was prayer during our practices, she led devotions, but the one that always made most proud is when we would have visiting teams, she wanted to be the one to pray. And just listening to her pray and sharing the gospel and how she prayed with some of these unsaved teams was really special. So my team character award goes to Olivia Barrows. My last one is the Team Leader Award. I don't think there's a question who that was. I kind of set her up at the beginning of the season. I declared her the best defensive player I've ever coached, one of the best soccer players I've ever coached, and put a lot of pressure on her right from the beginning of the season. And basically let the team know that this is the leader on the soccer field. And she did not disappoint at all. She would play every game to the last second. And I'm just telling you, because she was such a leader, if at any point in that game she just let down and she backed off, you would have seen the entire team just drop because they looked to her as the leader on that field. And very proud to give this Team Leader Award to Gretchen Murray. Well, thank you for listening. I tell you, I love these girls, and man, they're going to be phenomenal. There's only 2 seniors, no juniors up here. So think about that for a second. This is mostly 7th through 10th grade. So that's a lot of good years ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Sommer and Coach Hellers, for a wonderful season. I had a lot of fun. I'm going to miss it. And yeah, just thank you for making the season happen.
Okay, before we get to our last thing here, I just really quickly want to say, like Coach Sommer was talking about, we had kind of a tough decision at the beginning of the year about what we were going to do with our girls' soccer program, whether we were going to just focus on the middle school, because, I mean, that would have been a really, really good middle school team this year, or, you know, what we were going to do with varsity. Our conference rules actually say we have to have a varsity girls team, so we had to figure that out because what were there, like 6 high schoolers, I think, something like that. So that's, if you don't know anything about soccer, that's not enough people. So we had to obviously do something with the middle schoolers. So, you know, we made the tough decision to move them up and just hopefully take only a year break off middle school this year, hoping to have it back next year. But anyway, they ended up having a great year with 60% middle schoolers on their team, which is really phenomenal. They won their first round playoff game. They were competitive in their second round playoff game with one of their best players, Lorelei, getting injured, and they still were really competitive and had a chance to move on to the quarterfinals. So anyway, they really had a great season, and I think a lot of that has to obviously do with their coach, who is just phenomenal at what he does, did a great job leading them, and I think this reflects it. I just wanted to give Coach Sommer, he was voted as our conference, the Raleigh Area Athletic Conference, Coach of the Year for girls soccer. So, Coach, come up and get this plaque that he's already seen. Okay, he already knew that. I just had to embarrass him in front of everybody. He loves that, and definitely wanted to recognize him. Okay, so last thing we're going to do here before we head out for our fellowship time is we're just going to recognize some specific individual athletes for our varsity teams. So this is for varsity baseball, varsity girls soccer. All of the coaches at the end of the season get together and vote on an all-conference team, which I have my notes over there. So again, I'm just going to wing this, but I think I can do it. So anyway, for our conference, we're in the Raleigh Area Athletic Conference, which is made up of 6 area teams. And we are all in the same, well, not all of us, but some of our schools are 2A, some of our schools are 3A, but we all compete together as part of this conference. For baseball, out of all of the players in our conference, every single baseball player, only, I think, 13 make the all-conference team. And for soccer, I believe 17 make the all-conference team. So we did have some players from our team that were voted by the other coaches as worthy of being part of our all-conference team. So I'm going to have the coaches come give those awards and maybe talk about those players a little bit. We have some honorable mentions that will receive a certificate, and then we also have a medallion for the all-conference players. So we'll go ahead and we'll start with Coach Milton with baseball, and we'll finish with this.
You gonna hand them out to them? Okay. Sounds good. All right, I nominated 4 guys for all conference. I thought that they were deserving. I thought they performed well in each of the conference games. So I think, and I talked it over with the coaches, and we were agreed on this. 2 of them made all conference, and 2 were voted into honorable mention. Okay, all right. So this guy that we nominated improved greatly at his time here, from when he first started playing baseball in middle school all the way through, just kept getting better and better and better. His pitching got better and better and better. His hitting got better, and did a real good job of hitting for us. And so our first honorable mention goes to Alan. All right, again, nominated 4 guys. This next guy played a lot more positions than I wanted him to play. We had worked so hard on a particular position for him, and then when the season came around, I had a need, and I trusted him and another guy to fill this need, and we put him up for all conference. I cannot vote for my own guys in this, and so so we saw value in this guy and everything that he did for us. He pitched, he played catcher, played some infield, and that is Liam. The next one that got voted on, in the voting, he was our first guy that got voted in, well deserving. His ceiling is, I believe, very high, and I think he's going to do a great job. He's already, I think, a very good player. He likes to work hard. He has a great attitude. He had the highest batting average on our team by far. It really wasn't close. And he just did, as I mentioned earlier, he was voted best defensive player for our team, and also he had the highest batting average on our team. Excellent player, and that is Drew. All right. And then final award, this guy also played pitcher, catch, played some infield for us. I've talked with him, I talked about him earlier. He is a vocal leader on our team. He's a hard worker. He loves to play the game, has aspirations of continuing to play as long as he can, and a great guy to be around, and that is Patrick.
So I had 3, and the first one was an honorable mention. Very close, got a vote there, and this player, wow, just did so much for us on offense, scored 6 goals for us, but honestly was involved in pretty much every goal that we scored. And the coaches recognized that, so she scored a lot at the beginning of the season, not so much at the end, because halfway through the season we have to play every team a second time, and then they just man-marked her and did everything they could to shut her down, showing a lot of respect for her. So my honorable mention goes to Lorelei. And while she's coming up, there was one more thank you that I forgot to give in my soccer. Congratulations. When I did my soccer speech, and I wrote everything out last night, and I cannot believe I forgot. Best manager ever in Serenity. I so appreciate all she did for me this season, and I can't believe I forgot that. So thank you, Serenity. Okay, my first all-conference player. If you got to see her play at all this year, she did an amazing job as a goalkeeper. In fact, when we did the conference voting, she went number 8 in the voting, the highest goalkeeper that was put on. In fact, only one other goalkeeper was put on. And the coaches, they were just really, really impressed with this player, and that's Claire Perry. And then my last one, I've talked about her a lot, so I'm not going to talk a whole lot more other than what a great leader Gretchen has been for our team. I've had the privilege of coaching her for a number of years. Just good leader, solid in every part of the game. The coaches recognized how good of a defender she was. She went number 4 in the voting. You have to understand something. Typically, the first 11 girls that go they had 10 goals, they had 15 goals, they had 20 goals. Defenders oh yeah, they get somewhere down at the bottom. She was voted number 4 by the coaches in the conference, which tells you how much they thought of her. So, Gretchen, come on up.
All right, so I think that concludes everything for today. Thank you for coming tonight, everybody, to help us celebrate our teams. If you were on a varsity team, so that's baseball or varsity baseball or soccer, if it was your first year on the team, please come over to me. We'll do it over here. I'm supposed to be giving you a varsity letter, but they're not here yet. So I'm going to put your name down, and I'm going to make sure that you get one. So if it's your first year, if you haven't gotten a varsity letter before, come see me down there. We'll make sure you get one. So I think that is it. All right, so let's go ahead and stand, and we'll pray together. And then I hope that all of you will be able to stay afterwards, at least for a little while, and fellowship in the back. We've got some snacks and drinks and whatnot. And let's go ahead and pray, and then we will dismiss. All right, let's pray. God, thank you for your many blessings to us. Again, we just thank you for your grace and your mercy to allow us to get through another season. We thank you for how you have your hand on us and every day and all that happens. And we thank you for our teams, our athletes, and our coaches and our families here, and our dedication to you. And I just thank you for the testimony that they have shown on the field, and for all the different ways that you've blessed us. And I pray that you help us to continue to use all of our athletes' talents and abilities, not just for their own glory or to point to themselves, but to point to their Creator who gave them all the gifts that they have. And we thank you for athletics and how it can teach us and grow us into more Christ-like followers. And I pray that you just bless the rest of our week and the rest of our school year as well. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, thank you.